while Karen Reed's civil cases are ramping up, Colin Albert, is certainly in the news these days, and it's all about enlistment, going into the Army. Well, thank you for your service, and I hope it does you well. But a few little things that I have found out. My family, a lot of military. My former husband was a Navy officer. He's retired now. My dad, my stepdad, my brother is a Marine. My nephew is a Marine. And so on and so on. And we have some Army people in there too, and a couple of Air Force. So we're totally represented. Here's what they say. It's not a given anymore because we are technically not in wartime. Even though there's some things going on, it's not like they're going through a draft, or it's not like there is an urgent call. So when you apply to go into the Army, let's just say when you enlist, you have to test. And sometimes many of us are not that strong in some of these areas, like, I don't know, math. Now, there's something that I have to bring up. Now, first of all, I'm not a lawyer, so this is not legal commentary. I'll save that for those that are very talented and that can do that properly and legally. I'm not a doctor. I'm a forensic tarot investigator, intuitive, profiler, whatever you want to say. I dig deep. It occurs to me that every time someone has mentioned that Colin has been harassed by college mates, I'm going to say it that way, and he had to quit college or university because of what had happened with John O'Keefe, I have to bring this down a notch and think, was that really why he dropped out of college? Or was there a particular, perhaps, course that he didn't show a lot of strength in? Let me say it that way. Because it falls sort of kind of in line with this whole thing of being enlisted. You've got to take a test. And if you're not showing strength in a particular area, then you have to wait until you can pass that test in totality. That might be that 90-day period, or that might be that 10-week that puts us into fall. But here's the thing, just because you try to enlist doesn't mean that you're accepted and you're enlisted. It means that for right now, he's under the government care because he has enlisted. And they're maybe sort of helping him with a course, I'm going to say it that way, that will help him with furthering the enlistment processes. I don't know. That's the general consensus from my military family. That probably $1.25 will get you a Reese cup. But I believe it makes sense. Now, here's the thing. I see a lot of people, oh, well, his DI, drill instructor, or his sergeant or whomever, they're going to have a hard... I'm going to say this, with an enlisted man, most likely a DI would recommend to the commanding officer and ask a commanding officer, because it would have to be that decision in that way. There's a particular protocol. It has to go from chain. It has to follow the chain. This doesn't guarantee that he's in. I just want to make that clear. He may be going through the motions right now, but it doesn't guarantee that he's in. There's something else that I question, and that is seemingly why all of a sudden the dates really coincide with, gee, Colin, we want you to do this, and then all of a sudden, boomola. You're in the army now. You're not behind the plow. You're digging a ditch, you son of a gun. You're in the, right, hello. Sorry about that. But at this point, there's too many open ends here. And I believe if the court and the judge pushed it a little bit, and maybe even Karen Reed's side pushed it a little bit, and forgive my voice, allergies, I'm taking care of it, no worries. It probably would not be a good day for him, because also it's my understanding that when you go in, you have to sign a disclosure. I'm going to call it that way, that basically says, no, you're not running from the law. You're not involved in a lawsuit, which technically he was not named. Gosh, I wish Karen would have named him, but oh well. And so on and so forth. And if he said no, that might be grounds to say goodbye to Private Albert. We don't know. But unfortunately, being a private doesn't mean it's being private, because everybody's going to dig until they find out. There's things going on with Proctor, Lollygag. There are things going on with, I don't you love Rosemary Scapiccio? I think I said that right this time. Boy, I thrilled every time to watch her. I'm here, I want to just give a cover census of what is happening. I just want to give an idea. Now, I'm just going to say, this whole thing about the military, like I said, that's the general consensus on my side from my former and my family. But, you don't know his particular situation unless you know his particular situation. So hopefully that's a little bit of guidance. He's not in until he takes the oath. Did he take the oath yet? I don't know. Has he gone through basics yet? Probably not until he finishes these courses. Karen Reed. Don't you love the kipper? I miss it. And by the way, Karen, if you're watching, my darling, bravo to you for hanging in there. You're free now, in totality. As of yesterday, June 18th, she's no longer on probation. She's free. Sometimes I held my breath a little, and I think that, they were looking for things to get her violated, but she always hangs tough. Oh, very interesting. Oh boy, don't you love the kipper? Oh my goodness. Let's go. Let's read these cards. The courtship. Well, definitely, she's definitely engaged in all this. There's absolutely, she's going to be for a long time. And I'm going to say this, even after this is, she's going to come out of this a lot better than most people think. And there's going to be some twists and turns. This week has been very eventful. I believe the second full week in July is definitely going to be eventful. And then as we get into August, because that's when the evidence hearing and so on is due, the evidence is, that's going to be, so just keep watching, because frankly, there's more things coming out. And, I always read behind the scenes, and I want to see if some of this stuff comes out that I read for privately for myself. There's a different path that she is going to be taking that is going, see, here's the thing. This case, I've never seen so many twists and turns, and it's because there's a lot of people, but there's going to be another pathway. Something that they have to veer off on. Watch for that to happen, and here's a thief. Now, who's the thief? Well, first of all, whomever took John O'Keefe's life from him, that's the thief. And I'm going to say it over and over. Why do we have to get to the point where there's someone that has a ticket to the upper room, you know what I mean, before all of this information about law enforcement and possible corruption coming out? Because I guess it takes something dire. It takes something extreme. And believe me, I don't know if there is a word that goes beyond extreme from what I'm seeing, because you're going to see these little, talk about a pulp fiction. I mean, seriously, there's something over here and something over here and something and blah, 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 blah. And as we go forward, you're going to see some messed up things about some of the digital evidence that is coming through. Be aware of that. Now, the star of the show is the house, 34 Fairview Road, the former Albert house. I have to wonder about the people that live there and how they really feel about this. And I have to wonder, are they experiencing any energy things going on in there? Here we are, and this tells a big story. Adjudication, meaning justification, meaning court, meaning standing in front of court. And look at that judge. Does that not look like most of the judges that we've had in this case put out by the whole thing? Because let's not forget, Aidan Carney has his court dates coming up and more from him. And there's a whole dynamic of this defamation. Dear jumpin' jollies. But the courthouse is going to be just as busy as this house in some respect, because we're going to see some more things coming. Now I'm going to get this mythic tarot out. Ugh, that hit my thumb. We're not going to count it. And if I see what I saw a couple of days ago, I'm definitely going to let you know. And there it is. How am I going to say this? Hello, John. This is John's significator card. It is the sign of Sagittarius. And ironically enough, not ironically, I think it's fitting enough that this temperance card also means law enforcement, means loyalty. Say what you will about John O'Keefe, we all have our good days and bad. But I'm also going to say he did not deserve this. Justice will come for John O'Keefe. It's coming now. You can see it with the enlightenment of everything coming. We have a Mercury retrograde coming up in July. I'll be more specific about that when we get there. But I love Mercury retrograde in this particular case because every time things filtered to the forefront, it filtered to the top. And that's when it's the easiest to see. Now, what did I see? Remember how the energy of John O'Keefe, and that was the first time that I had a remote viewing. You can see it on, I think it was the day after Christmas or something like that. I woke up in the middle of the night, forgive me for that. But I had to record it because I didn't want to lose what that was all about. All along, this energy has put forth that there was somebody that could not be identified. John did not recognize a person that was there. And it was because it's not that he didn't know him, it's because he kind of covered himself. A hoodie will do that. And no, it's not one of the other players. It's someone different. But I'm also going to tell you, I'm a firm believer that Colin, was in that house. All signs will point to that, and it was mentioned briefly in, my son is, busy too. My Proctor mentioned him briefly in one of his reports, and nothing else was mentioned. Now, I'm also going to point something out here. For me, I have always thought that Colin was protected by auntie, uncle, parents. Why? Well, because he had a lot to lose. And now with this abrupt idea of perhaps the military, and there are too many things. And now I almost said Allie McGraw. Yeah, we'll just call her that. How's that? Allie McGraw. No, it's McCabe. Basically pointing out that her 360 didn't put her at 34 Fairview. There are some serious questions when people are testifying what they're doing and what they're not doing. But my point is, this person, according to the cards, the fifth person may know Colin. Now I'm going to leave it that because I want to look into it and I want to see what unfolds. Because see, here's the thing. They did what they did. If they did it, I'm going to say that. We don't know. Everyone is innocent, right, until proven guilty. But then right after, it was skippity-doo-dah right on out of here. And now we went from rough seas into much finer, calmer waters. And hopefully it just goes away on its own, because I'm just going to make a little story here and say we have the O'Keefe family convinced that Karen did it and that she got off. So that's all we need. But my question is, I've always wondered, why didn't the O'Keefe family sue the McAlberts, the house? I mean, there's homeowners insurance there, right? Because that's not what it was about. That's not the justice, especially in my opinion, that Mrs. O'Keefe wanted. Therefore, she didn't follow the normal legal protocol. I'm not a lawyer, but believe me, when somebody gets sued, they all get sued. But this Nine of Cups is a yes card. It's the wish fulfilled. It's equal to the Nine of Hearts and the cartomancy. But you see the Seven of Wands, and I'm just going to say this. We know they're all using the same law firm. Is it because they can't afford it? Well, somebody is doing, I think a family member maybe are doing some fundraising and so forth. But you can only get so far, because in these cases, when you get depositions and you get appearances and everything else, your legal fees will far outweigh the ability to raise funds. Just ask Karen and Aiden. Thank God for the community that is around them. They don't have that. The McCam defendants don't have that. That will stop And then we've got the lawsuit of Paul and all the family and so forth. So, I mean, look, pick a name out of a hat and we'll tell you, I mean, this one, this one, this one, this one. If this were me and it was my son, and I'm just going to tell you this, no one would be safe legally. I would be suing everyone until somebody decided that they were going to sing like a little canary. Because usually, in my opinion and in my experience with other clients, it's usually the small fish that rat out the big fish. And did they miss the boat? Possibly. Well, we won't know on that. There's a lot of communication here, and there's more coming. And this, my darlings, the Queen of Cups, again, is Karen showing up. It's equal to the Moon card in the tarot, also equal to the Queen of Cups in the cartomancy. This Four of Swords tells us that there's going to be a lot of communication coming. It may not be pleasant, most likely will not be, but everyone's going to try to be on their best behavior. I don't know. I wonder how long these lawyers will last with the McCam, right? I wonder how long they're going to last, because when you start can't paying a lawyer, does that make sense? That's not good English, but that's true. If you start can't paying a lawyer, you're going to see real quick a retreat. The Seven of Wands, conflict is coming amongst those that are together. Because you're going to start seeing people now choose sides more than ever. And if you think Proctor was a throwaway, which I still do in my heart based on the cards, my opinion, I'm going to also tell you that Higgy Baby, in my opinion, according to the cards, will be a throwaway. Because if anything is known, if they have any expressed knowledge, but my question is, why have they invited him into the fold? Well, could it be because he may know something? Does he know about maybe somebody being in the house when they said that they weren't in the house? Does he know information about Colin that normally no one else would know? And or Chloe? Keep your friends close, but perhaps your enemies closer. Could it be that they know that, or they think, or they surmise Higgy Baby knows something more than he does? And is that why he's been invited? And when the perpetual starts hitting the fan, my darling, no one will have the heart to go forward if you're not a part of the clique. Oh, definitely. Oh my. You can laugh. I enjoy myself, actually. This whole thing now, you see, wine is the symbol of cheerful and gaiety. Well, it's not only wine, but you know there's a Latin phrase, in vino veritas, which means in wine there is truth. There was a story circulating about, I don't know, one Higgy Baby that walked into a bar. No, it wasn't a joke. But he was telling somebody about something and then all of a sudden got spooked. Now that was the story. I don't know. I wasn't there. This tower. And this is another thing. It can denote someone getting a ticket to the upper room. I'm going to leave it at that. And it is not John. I don't predict anything like that. I don't and will not predict death. But be a watchman, because anything in this particular case now is possible. I'm going to put it that way. The heart of the matter, which I feel, again, they missed the boat. Here's what I want to say. They're all fighting so much in court. There's a particular weapon that people could use that is the strongest weapon on earth and in the heavens, and that weapon is the truth. By telling the truth, this will all come out in the wash, and those people, if they've been involved and if they've done anything, those people will have to pay for whatever. I'm not a lawyer. But telling the truth, and see, the more that you go on like this, the worse it gets. And that's why they feel like they have to fight it now until the bitter end. Where they all going to get their money to do that, I don't know. Here's a lump sum of money right there, and I think that some of these people were figuring on a lump sum of money to tell their story and whatever. But I'm sorry, if they're going to do one of these reality shows, the reality is you don't know the reality. Here's another thing. You see this Nine of Spades is all about curbing the imagination. But the Rose is all about being rugged. And it's also about health, which I don't read on. But these two right here. Before the fall, something is going to take a turn, and it's just when we think we're shocked, then we get that much more shocked, and I just kind of shake my head anymore. We've got a number 11 here, which is a foundation number. It's a master builder number in numerology. And literally it means the foundation. Whose idea was this? That's always been my question. Who made that deciding blow? When I had the remote view with John, he was hurt. He was gravely hurt, but someone made that last decision. What is that last decision? Look, let's all huddle in here. We can call 911. Now, this is hypothetical now. I'm not saying that this is true at all, okay? But I'm just going to do a little example, a little play. We can call 911 because we've got somebody else in the other room laying, and he's not in good health. And there's a lot of stuff going on with him. Now, we could take him. He most likely has a concussion and or worse, and he's got other things going on, and now all kinds of stuff is happening. And yet, we can take him to the hospital, but what happens if he recovers? He's going to sing. He's going to talk to us. He's going to tell us. He's going to rat us out. Birds of a feather flock together, so do rats and mice. So who made that decision that John could not walk away? Well, I'm going to say that John could not walk away from 34 Fairview. Who made that decision? When I remote view, it all happened so quickly. But someone had to think of that. It just doesn't happen with so many people out of the blue, or does it? This is either the most wild case of perhaps aliens dropping down and doing something to John, or we've missed the boat here. But I believe the truth is coming out, because look at this. We've got both jokers. One is bad, one is worse. Hidden things, secrets, upset. the Eight of Hearts, and I'm going to leave it at that because this is a card of suspicion. You see this little fox right here? This little fox also talks about acquaintances who are seeking to betray. Oh, that gives me the creeps, if you want to know. Or maybe you don't. But being around in this nucleus of this reading and being at the foundation, this guy is not to be trusted. This guy, this fox, who thinks he's smart as a fox, seeks to betray other ones. And I believe, my darlings, we're going to get ready to see that pretty soon, where all of a sudden you're going to start seeing the line being drawn in the sand. When somebody jumps ship and they have to get their own lawyer, look out. Look out. Because we're going to start seeing it unfold in front of us. Join me tomorrow night live. I'm going to go back to Nancy's house. We might touch a little bit on John O'Keefe too. But join me, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be right here. I'm going to be using Sam app, and I'm going to be using the other app that I use. We're going to see what comes up. It names names. Don't miss it. Thanks for being here, my darlings. I sure do appreciate you. I'll see you very soon.